All right, so we're starting straight away down on the floor. If you can't hear me, just give me a wave, shout. I'm leaving it on because there's not many people in this group. Make sure you got space behind you so you don't have to do that bum walk and that sort of thing. Make sure there's no cats around. And just put your hands behind your knees. Sit very tall on your sit bones. Release your shoulders, so let your elbows kind of drop into the sides of your waist. And you're holding your knees just for support, but you don't have to. You could even put your hands behind you. And you're just going to hollow the tummy in, roll into your tailbone as you breathe out, and lift back up onto your sit bones as you breathe in. So always the first kind of form of movement in Pilates is something to activate your awareness of your breathing. So you're breathing out and breathing in. Now watch what you're doing when you're breathing out. Think of the rib cage coming down. So watch in your mind's eye. And then just check that it doesn't affect your shoulders and your head. So in other words, do not let your head drop forward. The breathing and the pelvic tilting is really from the rib cage downwards. So feel that as you breathe out, you're hollowing the tummy back, pulling it away from the front of your t-shirt. And relaxing the back of your jaw. So try not to clench your teeth. If anything, have your mouth slightly open, not gaping open, because that could look a bit weird. So you're going to breathe out through a relaxed jaw. Possibly breathe in through your nose if you feel comfortable to do that. So take your hands away from your knees and put your hands up in the air. And as you breathe out, you're just going to twist slightly, checking that you're staying equally weighted on the back of your body, equally to one side and the other, and then breathe in every time you come up. So as you roll back, so roll back through, you roll back and twist, and then you lift up and breathe in. So you're hollowing the tummy, and as you rotate, check that the tailbone that's behind you is very equally weighted, one side to the other. So we're not rotating the pelvis. You're just rolling a little bit around the sides of the rib cage. Obviously, your head is going to turn and then come back up. A couple more, breathing out. Breathe in. So really try and rotate your shoulders. We'll do two more because I believe that's the way we started. So rotate the back of your shoulder blade around. And then one more time, rotate around the back of your shoulders. And then this time, put your hands behind you and lean onto them. Bring your feet quite close and together and roll your knees from side to side. So be careful there, Alex. And just feel how you can feel that sort of massaging over the sides and the back of the hips, the glutes. Obviously very gentle. And I'm sure you can get onto the foam rollers and do some fascial rolling and stuff, maybe after, if you've got loads of time and not homeschooling. Okay, so starting seated and then we'll go down. It's all very low level, so don't feel that you're copping out or it's too easy. It's just low level. You're going to scoop the tummy in and you're going to roll back and stretch one leg out. So your back is trying to press into the floor and one leg is stretching out and then coming back up. So imagine you've got a dot on the base of, on the top of your workout trousers. Usually it's where the Lululemon symbol is. Try and get the symbol onto the mat as you're opening the alternating hip. So that you know, your label or your symbol in the base of your trousers, back of your trousers.
Well, I wish I wasn't wearing high trousers.
You're wearing higher ones. I like those ones. They're great.
They're good.
I love the high-waisted. I think the older I got, the higher my waistband got. Okay, so this is what we're aiming at over the next bit. So when you lie down, lay your head down, bring your arms out of the way. Think of imprinting the spine without tightening your glutes. So the stomach is doing the pelvic tilt and you're stretching one leg away. So as you stretch the leg away, see if you can keep the lower back on the floor and then come back up to release. Now it's quite a small movement, but definitely try and get the whole of your back flat on the floor as you stretch your leg out and then release as you come in. So you're really flattening the spine and straightening out your leg.
Very cool with that.
Mm-hmm. So you breathe out to flatten, breathe in to come in. That's it. Now keep doing this motion. And then we're just going to change the angle of the extension. So what we're doing is in a very low level, getting the abdominals to kick in and move the femur around in the joint. So as you go out next time, rotate outwards. So your knee is turned out like a ballerina and then come back into parallel. Then do the other way. So you're imprinting and turning your baby toe towards the floor and then coming back out. Try not to let your hip roll sideways. Just try and slide down the outside of your foot and come back in. And then again, try and turn your knee out, slide the outside of your foot away and come back in. Now do the opposite way. As you slide your knee away, you're turning your knee inwards and going to the outside of your big toe. And then come back in, which will feel really odd. And then again, rolling out. So you're going sort of knock-kneed, back flattening into the floor. Do a couple more with your internal rotation. Trying to keep the back flat. You might find it's harder to keep the back flat when you're turning inwards. And another one. Flatten your back, internal rotation. Done. And release. It's all good. Leave your hands down. I always put my hands up on my hips. So you're flat-footed, as in big toe, baby toe, equally weighted, heel pressing in steps lifting. And then you're just going to roll into bridging as always. As you roll halfway up and your waistband comes up, feel the glutes kicking in. And I'd like you to lift up onto your big toes. So really push the big toes into the floor. And then roll down bit by bit into the waist, imprinting the spine. And then releasing your tailbone and your heels at the same time. So your feet are nice and equally weighted right to left. Roll through the spine. When you get to the top, lift your ankles, lengthening your kneecaps away. And then as you just relax down through the back of your chest, melting through the shoulder blades, imprinting the waistband, and then releasing, release your feet. So on the next one, I'd like you to stay lifted. So you're hollowing the tummy and you're coming up. So you're feeling that glute position. In a lifted position, with your toes on the floor and your heels up, just open and close the knees, like in a butterfly motion. Open and close, open and close. So now what we're going to do is lower and lift, not in a rolling motion, just in that exercise in the gym called butt buster. You're going to lower to open the knees and lift your hips to squeeze your knees. So it's sit down, push up. So just good old fashioned glute max and inside thigh working. Come down. We're going to do quite high reps here. Down. Now remember, as you go up, your ribs come down. So we're going to breathe out on the way up. So the ribs squeeze in. Go down, breathe out. Go down, breathe out. Go down, breathe out. Couple more. And another one. Lay down through the shoulders, roll down through your waist, let your heels drop. And then just bring your knees towards your chest. Nice, easy release. And then with your toes together, draw circles in your hip joints. So you're just nice and easily releasing through back. Okie dokie. So what you obviously can feel that we're really getting activation through the stomach, of course, was first, through the glute max, so we're going to pre-fatigue that so it can't work all the time, and opening the hips. So let's go again. This time, place your feet close together and your knees together. So you're in a very small base of support and your feet are quite close in. And we're going to do a single leg version. So roll through the spine, get the back mobilized. Push your kneecaps forward and squeeze the tummy in. And then please lift one knee up. So the leg that's lifted is going to go out and in. So I'll just go on an angle so you can see what I mean. The leg that's lifted is going to go out and in, out and in. Every time you go out, you're going to drop the hip and then lift the hip. Drop down and lift 10 times. Let's call this 2, lift, 3. So as your leg goes out to the side, you're really having to hold the hips square. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. On that same leg, 10. Change feet. Try not to rest. Lift up the other knee. So that leg is going to go out and in. The bottom leg is going to go down and up. Are you ready? Go. I'm going to call this number 1. Lift. 2, 3, 4. Nice. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Last one, 10. Place your foot down. Sink into the shoulders and the ribs. Roll through your waist. And release. Good stuff. So now I'd like you to go back to imprinted spine. So the imprint will really kick into the lower deep abdominals, and extend one leg, keeping your back on the floor like we did at the beginning. Now from here, reach your hands towards your knees, nod your head forward, and you're going to roll up halfway and then come back down. So as you are imprinted, you're really going to be using the deep abdominals, the hip flexor. So don't go worried or anything. We're just trying to fatigue that area. 3, 4, that's it. 5, 10 times. 6. I'm feeling the stretch through the neck. 7, 8, 9. Last one, 10. Release your head, neck and shoulders. Turn your head from side to side. Relax the back and change legs. So the first thing you do, as you slide your leg away, imprint the spine. So the back is pressing down, and you've hopefully got a hollowing feeling in your tummy. Reach your hands away so the shoulders are long away from your ears. And here we go again for 10 on the other side. As you lower the leg, work very hard to keep the back down. 2, 3. So if anything, it's probably harder on the lowering phase to work those deep abdominals, because the lift, as you're quite used to this stuff, isn't that hard. 6, 7. 2 more. 9. Last one, 10. Done. Stretch both legs out. Let your hands go overhead, just releasing and lifting the rib cage. Feel the shoulders activate a little bit. And then hopefully you've got your band somewhere close. So let's grab the band and simply go straight into supported single leg circles. So it's a nice easy one just to have a bit of a breather. Google's telling me to update. Okay, so the band is going to be thrown underneath your leg. The bottom leg slides away, and if possible, you are lengthening the spine and we're coming out of the imprint. So this is very difficult on the screen, but usually when we lift the leg higher, we imprint the spine because it feels good to get your leg really high. But if you can lengthen the spine away with a gentle curve, kind of just below the ribs, you could just about get your fingertips under there, or depending on your postural type, but there's definitely a gap. Try and maintain that gap, which we'll use as transverse abdominals around the waist. And then with your elbows drawing down into your sides, the shoulder blades wide, just draw small circles so you don't really feel anything. You don't really feel anything within the hip just yet. And then make those circles increasingly larger, checking on the support system first, which is your rib cage, your shoulder blades, your bottom leg, and the opposite hip. So of course the pelvis is a single unit, but think of the opposite hip staying down. Now make the circle quite wide. It can be an oval. Make sure there is no clicking or crunching. So you've come at it very gently. Don't go through that horrible tingling neural stretch. Don't go through a huge, horrible inside thigh stretch. Just sort of gently stroke the surfaces of your stretches. And then reverse the circle. Go again the other way. And really think of this femur moving around within the basin of the hip. And maybe feel the attachments at the very base of your sit bones stretching out. Okay. Leaving that leg in the air, take the band away, and the leg might go a little bit lower and feel your thigh having to work now. Keep the band in your hands, but elbows down, and now draw a tiny circle. And reverse the circle. Now do 5 little piquets using the thigh. Piquet is where you take it down and pick it back up again. It's a pick up. 2, pick up. 3. So you're always holding the tummy in. 4, 5. Shake out your thigh. Push it straight down on the floor. Make sure it's right below your hip bone, not wide. So right below the hip bone. And then throw the band underneath the opposite leg. Let's do those 3 things on the other side. So your elbows draw down. Band is quite tight, so very supportive. And your leg is as straight as is comfortable without a huge stretch. So in other words, don't pull it up. Let your back lengthen away and your tailbone sit happily. And then draw small circles within that hip socket and feel the control system first. Shoulder blades, rib cage, belly button drawing in, pelvis heavy at the tailbone, bottom leg very strong. Now you've got that support system really in your mind's eye. Encourage your circle across the body slightly and open the body slightly without crunching, clicking, or resistance. So if you feel the resistance of your stretch, just smooth through it and don't force the stretch. So you're feeling really quite comfortable. Your body's starting to relax. Parasympathetic system is kind of relaxed, and the excitable system in your body is calm. Because as soon as you start to feel pain, even a little bit of discomfort, reverse, go the other way around. Your body, if you like, tenses up. And that's not strictly true of the tense that the word feels, like you tense the muscles, but it's just that excitability within the fascia, which we want to try and release. Couple more before we take the band away. So as you take the band away and you feel the thigh take over, draw your belly button in and keep it in the thigh, the big, I would say the big muscle, hopefully it's not too big, and draw small circles. Really feel the thigh working. Hold your tummy in. Let the thigh do its job. Yeah. Good. Doesn't have to be high. Reverse the circle. Relax your shoulders. Release the teeth. And then little pickups from the floor. You're going to take it directly down and pick it back up as if the floor was hot below you. 2, 5 times. 3, 4, 5. And release. Good stuff. As we've got the band, double it over while we've got the band. Double it over so it is really, really short and strong. If it's too short and strong, you can open it up a bit. So very, very strong. Open your elbows, pull the elbows to the floor and bring the band across the chest line. And then come back up again 8 times. So feel the shoulders kind of hugging into the floor. And you might even feel there's a little bit of a gap coming towards the middle of the shoulder blades, towards the spine area, where the rhomboids are kicking in. Breathe out and in. A nice release through the chest and in. Another 4 and in. 3 and in. 2 more. Oops, I didn't break, I hope. And then last one. 1 or 2. Okay, leave the band down by your sides, shake out your hands, put your hands behind your knees with a rocking motion, massage your back into the floor, and after 2 or 3 rocks, roll yourself up to sitting. Okay, so shake out your legs a little bit. The same feeling of trying to pelvic rotate or roll or imprint the spine and using all those big muscles here. So I'm going to get you to bend your knees slightly. So it's not a huge bend, just a very gentle release of the knees. Hands out in front again. Repeat the exercise feel where we extended your leg and dropped into the belly. So the leg is opening out with the strength of the tummy. and then come back up again. Do it again. So you're flattening into the tummy. And lift. Now stay on the first leg. Breathe out and go down. Now I'm going to do little pulses up and down. Work the down. Work the scoop. 3, 10 times. 4, 5. So the down is the workout. Lifting doesn't have to be so high. 7, 8, 9, 10. Shake out your thigh or your hip, whichever it feels. It's going to be feeling in there, I hope. Not too bad. Sit nice and tall. Find your sit bones. Hands out in front. We'll do the same on the other side. So you're hollowing back the belly. The belly is your go-to first, and the leg is opening out against that. Then you're lifting with the strength of the stomach and the leg and lowering down 10 times. The support or the challenge or emphasis is on the downward motion. Breathe out on the way down. And so really change that emphasis. Rather than lifting, we're lowering into the stretch or the release, active release. 7, 8, 9, 10. Shake out that thigh. Good, good, good. So if you could ask you to swing yourself over onto your tummy, I'm just going to go the other way so I can see better. Because again, I'm relegated into the tiniest room, like we all are, I think. Okay, so your feet, weirdly, especially if there's anything going on down the side of the leg, our feet tend to open. So just bring the feet a little bit closer. They should be below your hips, not wider than the hips. And then wiggle around and feel that you're kind of stretching or opening. It's almost like you're stretching the material of your legs out, the material of your workout trousers. So they're very, very stretched out from behind. And stay on your elbows. So you're lifted and open through the neck. Imagine you're pulling your elbows down into the ribs and tuck your toes underneath, particularly the big toe. So holding the belly button up, imagine you're going to go into a plank, but we don't. We're going to scoop the tummy in and imagine that hugging motion is just lifting your hips from the floor. And I exaggerate for the camera, so it's this motion, but it's not a plank. It's a bit below that, so maximal. And then straighten one leg out, but don't lift the hip. And then lower down, then the other leg out. That's it. So we're not using the glute to do this. You're going to feel that you want to clench the butt cheek. Try and just push your thigh out and the back of your knee up to do that. So your belly button hugs up, which is trying to hold the pelvis in a slight posterior tilt. And you're stretching the knee out from underneath. That's it. So your toes are tucked under, the big toe pressing away, and we're opening the back of the knee and possibly the hip flexor. So one leg at a time for starters. Right, so your hips or the front of your thighs are going to stay on the floor and you're going to straighten both knees. So if anything, you might feel the pubic bone very, very strong. So pubic bone's pushing down, belly button's drawing up. You might even feel a lightening in the front of your hip bones. If you feel this in the lumbar spine, shake out and stop. So shoulders away from the ears, belly button drawing up, and that double knee extension on the tips of your toes. Again, you might feel this is submaximal, not your hardest work. Tell me if you don't really get what I'm talking about. That's it. Try to avoid squeezing your butt cheeks. That's it. One more time. Yeah, so come down a little bit more, Alex. Come down to your elbows and keep sucking your tummy in. Last one or two anyway. Okay, come down a little bit further. Open your feet wide, so it's very comfortable through the back side, the glutes, the lower back, and bend your knees. So you're in a very comfortable position. And now gently rock from side to side, letting the impetus of the feet lift up one hip, then lift up the other. Just check it feels comfortable in your knees. And then feel how one hip probably lifts up off the floor, and then the other one. And just by way of measuring, see if one foot and the other foot is about the same. And notice if one doesn't want to go down and the other one does, or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with it. Just be aware of it. If one side is just more mobile than the other, or it's usually the tighter side feels tighter. The tighter side feels tighter. The tighter side you'll feel more comfortable in a weird way, because you'll be more dominant that way. Okay. So if anybody walks in the room now, they say, you're not exercising. So shake out your legs, come back up onto your elbows, and be really aware, especially Alex, now you said it, be really aware of the control in the waistband to control the lumbar spine, and go into single leg kick exercise, which is an active dynamic quad opening. So you're lifting your chest and sucking the tummy up. And from here, you've got 2 little kicks on one thigh. Make sure your knee feels good for the first couple, and 2 little kicks on the other. And usually the first 1 or 2 just lets the kneecap release. Zip your tummy in like we did before. Check that your feet are directly under your hips again, so narrower in, and off you go. 2 little kicks and 2 little kicks. So there's that slight hovering through the front of your belly. So add a little bit of footwork on the end. So you point the toe 1, you press the heel 2. So it goes toe, heel, down, toe, heel, down. And the movement of the ankle will just change a little bit into the calf and the attachments into the hamstrings. Little breath. Down, keep that going. Down, 4, down, 3, down, 2 more, down, last one, down, release, good stuff. While we're in this position, open your elbows a little bit wide so you're lower down towards the ribs. Keep your feet right below your hips and relax your shoulders a little bit. So this is in hopefully a very comfortable position. Keep this position so we're in an upper extension of the spine. So it doesn't, so on your elbows, it comes more into the lumbar spine. So we're a little bit further down and wider. So you're just lifting into the thoracic spine, mid-rib cage. Put your hands where your elbows are. So you're quite low and comfortable. Drop the elbows possibly to the floor and then lengthen, keeping the front rib on the floor. And then lower down again. So you're going to feel it's quite a small motion. So then what I'd like you to do is straighten one arm only and turn over your shoulder. And then come back down, so it's quite small. And then do the other side. If I just turn around for a second, check as you straighten that you're in the center and you're not leaning sideways. So as you straighten, ignore my feet just because I'm near the wall, you're spiraling the spine instead of leaning. So we're now into extension and rotation, which is going to release the internal obliques. And in a second, we're going to get into those hip flexors. So this is what it looks like. If you look over your right shoulder, you're going to bend your left leg and see if you can see your foot in your peripheral vision. Lower down and go the other way. So I'll just repeat it. If you're looking over your left shoulder, you're bending your right foot. So opposite shoulder to foot. So you're spiraling the spine from the rib cage up, keeping the pelvis very steady and still. We're activating the back cross chain of muscles and releasing the front cross chain, which I think has a lot to do with that dominance that we have. There you go. Breathe out as you look over your shoulder. Breathe in at the top. Breathe out to relax down. So you push up, breathe out. Breathe in as you try and see your foot. And come back down. Couple more or 3 more. Make sure you're doing the same number both sides. Hopefully you might feel a little bit of your lats if you're really pressing up on that one arm. And then last one. Done. Bring your elbows in, push yourself up. If you're happy on your knees, sit back onto your heels. If not so happy, just scoop the tummy in, nod your head down, and just release your back. Take some nice long breaths. Scoop up under the tummy. So the tummy is still really curling up, even though you're relaxing back. And done, relax. Turn sideways. And hopefully, Alex, you're going to be okay with this one. You're sitting on the side of your hip. Can you sit like that? So we're not sitting in mermaid. We're sitting just like you'd sit at a picnic in the old days when we used to go out with each other. Oh gosh, it's a long lockdown, isn't it? So you're really sitting on the side of the hip. Push your shoulder blade down, so very open here. And then press up onto your shoulder, just in this position. That's it. And then lower down, 3 of those. So just want to sort of warm up through the shoulder, rehearse through the shoulder, make sure you're comfortable in this position. And we're going to work this position much stronger. So we're getting into inside thighs. So here we go. We're going to straighten out the top leg in the lifted position. Push your baby toe down. So the foot, rather than on the side, is pushing downwards. And the top arm is just going to stay by your side. You're going to lift the underneath leg, lift and lower. And again, lift and lower. Breathe out. And lower. 5 times. And lower. One more time. Now, as it goes down, lift your top leg and take your arm right the way over the side. And then lower. And then pick up the bottom leg. And lower. So add in that side reach and lift. Activating a little bit in the side of the body. And then there's underneath thighs. 5 times.
Are you bringing that knee forward?
Just underneath, just upwards. Yeah, it doesn't have to come forward. Because if you bring it forward too much, it might impede, it might roll your spine a little bit. Last one. Okay, keep going with the underneath leg. 10, 9, supposed to be tiring. You're right. 8, 7, inside thighs, hopefully, and shoulder. 6, 5, I hopefully counted up and counted down. 4, 3, 2, last one, sit down, knees in, sit on your side hip, hopefully you're right there, Alex. The arm you were leaning on, take it over your head and release. So you're also releasing in that side hip rib. Okay, let's go around onto the opposite side and I'll just build it in the same regard. So the same way, I'm just checking you can see. There you go. So you're definitely on your side hip. I really hope that's okay. Shoulder pushing away from your ear, knees comfortable. And then just lift and lower a few times, making sure this shoulder feels good. So 3 times. Fingers really wide. Make sure the knee position is comfortable. And then we're going to stay lifted and take your top leg out. And your big toe is pushing down, baby toe is pushing down, arm on your side. And then lift and lower that bottom leg. So in other words, kind of rehearse it, make sure it feels okay. 5 times. 3, 4, 5. Now as you lower the knee, lift your arm and leg, stretching and reaching, and then lower, and then pick up the bottom leg. 5. And then again, 4. 6. Lift. So in the thighs, really starting to work outer hip, just kicking in slightly. One more time. Get ready. So here we go. We're going to lift and lower that bottom leg 10 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One more time. And sit down into the hip. Take your arm over your head and release. Good stuff. Okay. So what I'd like to get into is the QLs. These big muscles, they're bigger, well, they do even bigger type of control than the lats do. So the lats come all the way down and these muscles sit at the base of your spine kind of thing. And when they're tight, they ache. When you're stressed, they ache. So it's actually muscular backache sometimes. And all you need to do is get the blood circulating in there, sometimes release what feels like a backache. Take your feet as wide as is comfortable, but it doesn't have to be gymnastic wide. Just a bit wider than your shoulders. Take your hands out to the side and imagine you've got a fit ball underneath both arms and you're just gently pushing the ball down. So it's really quite relaxed, not straight and strong like this. And go into that rotation, feeling the back body rotate like you did when you're on your hands and your tummy and you're trying to look over your shoulder. Feel the shoulder blade drawing you back and around. And try and lengthen your body upwards, away from your sit bones, spiraling the back body around. So your mind's eye is at the back. We're always thinking of the front. We're always thinking of the hips, the ribs, your abdominals. Try and think of the shoulder blades. Imagine those gorgeous backless dresses. That's it. So I'd like you to rotate around, turn your head as far around as you can, and then reach your opposite arm towards your big toe. And then come back up again, breathe in. Rotate as far around as you can, looking away from your foot, but reaching towards your big toe. And we're going impossibly slow, I know. Breathe in to come up. Now reach to your baby toe, really encouraging that rotation. And then come back up. And another one in this deathly slow motion. And now let's go faster. We're going to do 2 little pulses. Breathe out. Breathe in. Step it up. Breathe out. Out. Breathe in. Come on up. Breathe out. Out. Relax into the neck. And lift. 4 more. It's 4. And lift. Breathe in. It's 3. Bounce and reach. Lift up. It's like a little pulse and then reach further on the second lift. Up. So it's 1 pulse, then another reach and lift. We're done. Relax your shoulders. Good stuff. Okay, if you take your feet a little bit wider where you start to feel that stretch, and as I mentioned at the beginning, I don't want you to go, oh God, feel that stretch. Just feel it and kind of, I mean, you can physically stroke it if you like. Place your hands in front and keep your chest lifted and just walk your hands slightly forward until you feel that stretch intense, just gently, and then come away from it. Treat your body like it's somebody else's and be kinder. So you're walking forward. Don't feel that you have to push your own body. Imagine it's somebody else's. And then come back in. And then on the next one, you're going to breathe out, but you're going to look forward. So look to the screen, release your elbows and feel the elbows drawing towards each other. It's a great thing with this top, you can see my little rings. So the elbows are coming in. So you feel the release in the shoulders and the lats. Chest lifted. And then walk back up again. Take both hands over one knee. Walk forward. Again, drop your elbows towards you. Turn your head away from the screen once you've seen what we're doing. And imagine your ear is going towards the knee. Breathe out. Breathe out until you can't breathe out anymore, and then squeeze that extra little bit of breath out. And then come back up again. So hopefully there you really felt that QL muscle. Walk to the opposite side. Elbows draping in somewhat. Leaning forward, looking at your big toes. Checking out your pedicure. Turn your ear towards the side. Breathe out and imagine you're listening to your squeaky knee. Well, mine squeaks. Take a nice long breath in, and as you breathe out, go right to the end of your out breath. And when you think you can't breathe out anymore, squeeze a bit more out. And then come back up. Good. Check out the thighs. Bring your feet in, because there's lots of inside thigh releasing as well. So what I'd like you to do is try this. You're going to have, let me just have a think about this one. Have your right leg on top in what you know is a figure 4 stretch or piriformis stretch. Your right leg's going to go on the top. The reason I'm saying right, because it might be a little bit more comfortable when I'm going to twist this way. So you've got your right leg on top and you're going to hold your legs however which way you want to. It's not a stretch, it's a dynamic release. And we're going to roll into what would be rolling like a ball, and then you scoop your tummy in, hold onto your legs and massage, if possible, both sides of your spine equally. So you might want to go further down into your left side, try and press down into your right side as well. Massage your back down and up. There you go. So now, keeping the right leg lifted, rotate around and put your right foot on the floor. So keep the same leg lifted. Lift up your left arm and open out. Are you okay with that, Alex?
Yep.
See how you get on. And then place both hands down. Take your hand over the top of your knee and press down and forward, as if you're going to do a press up. And then repeat that. Go careful, Alex. Go over the top. Are you okay?
Yeah.
So left arm up and then rotate around, sink down. So even though we're moving, hopefully you'll feel a different response around. We're now really getting into that glute area. I was chatting about all those, all the complex at the back of the hip there. You might feel a little bit more now piriformis. Maybe even those deep hip muscles. The deeper ones, you don't feel isolated. You just feel that general opening deep within the hip at the back. We'll do one more time. Okay, keep the right leg lifted and come across and come back up. Put your hands around your knees, scoop the tummy in, massage your back again into the floor. That's it, 3 or 4 times. And then we'll stay on the floor. So you've got your regular cross-body, cross-leg piriformis stretch. So what I'd like you to do is squeeze the stretch closer. So you're like sitting cross-legged. I'm going to move. So you've taken it away from figure 4 to cross-legged. Reach to both ankles and pull your ankles towards you. So you're holding onto the top foot and the bottom foot if you can reach it. And you're pulling both of your ankles gently towards you. Be careful of your feet and the outside of your ankle, but feel that stretch on your top leg, your right leg. Breathe into it. Remember again the stretching. You don't want to give yourself a real hard stretch. You kind of want to come into the back door so you're fooling the body that it's all okay and you're not going to hurt it. Like I say, imagine your body somebody else's and you're being kind. We're kinder to other people than ourselves, I reckon. And release. Place your feet down and uncross your legs. Now, I'd just like you to stay lying on the floor, feeling your shoulders and your hips, maybe the inside thighs, I don't know what you feel. Leave your hands down by your sides and just do one gentle bridge. So just hollow the tummy, roll through the back, and just feel like you're trying to equal up the spinal column, the musculature through the shoulder blades, either side of your ribs, lower side, each side of your waist, and down onto your tail. Put your hands behind your knees, rock yourself up to sitting, and put your left leg on top. So we're going to do that sequence. I'm turning around so I'll keep facing you, with the left leg on top, right? So grab the back of your legs, or whichever, you can grab the underneath leg, whichever is comfortable, for rolling like a ball with one leg on top. Scoop into the tummy. Try and massage both sides of the back into the floor. Go. Because the hip flexors go all the way into the lumbar spine, right the way up into the lower thoracic spine. Okay, so when you come up next time, keep the same cross so we don't uncross the legs. Turn around, putting your left leg onto the floor, and you're going to lift up your right arm into that kind of mermaid stretch. Then release, twist around over your knee and put both hands on the floor and bend down, kissing the floor like a press up. And repeat those 2 stretches continually up and over, rotating down and around to the floor. And feel the response in the hips. Breathing out when you start to feel that resistance. If there's resistance. That's a couple more. Keep that comfortable rhythmic breathing. Move through the stretches. When you find your end range, just sort of move through it, come back out of it. And after that last set, uncurl yourself. Swing around back up to your seated position with your left leg up. And just again, a couple of rolling into the spine. And then after the next 1 or 2, stay lying down. Tighten the cross of your legs. So take it from a figure 4 to a cross-legged position. Reach down, grab your ankles and pull your ankles up towards you. Just notice the difference one side to the other. We nearly always have some sort of difference. Be careful of pulling the outside of your ankles. Flex your feet, maybe if you've had any lateral tears or strains in the side of your ankle. Nice released breath. Just to the edge of your stretch where you feel that resistance. Relax into it on your out breath. Okay. Release your feet. Place your feet down on the floor. Okay. I'd like you to straighten both legs. So the hips are nice and released. And again, feel the shoulders, the tailbone, and just equal out the line of your body. Take your hands overhead. We've got a little bit of strengthening to do, but I'm just releasing a little bit. So hands overhead. Imagine somebody's grabbing your right foot and your right hand away from each other, and you're stretching down that right side. Reach the heel away and your fingers away. Imagine you're kind of doing a side stretch on the floor. And then release. Hopefully that side feels longer now. And then do the same on the other side. Really lengthen the other side. Reaching your right fingers and the right, left, the opposite side. Left side away. And then release. Good stuff. I'd like you to leave your legs straight for the next set. Place your hands behind your head. Your elbows are nice and wide right now, and you feel how that actually lifts the shoulders. So if you bring your elbows slightly further forward, feel the shoulders widen, and then nod your head forward, and feel like you're trying to lift up, and then lower down. Feel the abdominals working. Try to avoid tilting the pelvis. Just use the abdominals in this long position. We so often bend the knees, and that is, it's a good thing. It's a safety thing. We bend the knees so that the back is not being pulled. But what I'd like you to do is use the strength now that we've set up. We've really opened the hips to really deepen into the transverse abdominals. So you're flattening the tummy, using your head to support the neck. 3 or 4 more of simply a neck lift. Breathe out. Chest lift if possible. 2 more. Long legs, long spine. Last one. Okay, so bend your knees in, which will release the hip flexors totally. Relax your lower back. And now I'd like you to keep your lower back in the natural long position, neutral if you want to call it that. Check that you are not doing an imprint or a pelvic tilt at all. Keep a feeling of being strapped down by the lower part of your hips into the mats. I'd like you to lift your chest just a little bit, and you're going to roll to one side, rotate to the other, and then lie down across the back of your shoulders, and then go back up again. Imagine the crown of your head doing a circle, towards one side. So you're doing a continual circle up and across, down and release across the shoulders. Breathing out as you go up and around. Breathe in as you come down and across the back of the shoulders. Breathe in, across, down. Now see if you can lift a little bit higher. Lift and go a little bit higher across and down. 2 more. Lift that little bit higher across the front of your ribs. Release for a second. Drop your elbows out. Let the rib cage flare somewhat with your in-breath. And we're just going to do that circular lift in the opposite direction. So bring your elbows slightly forward to widen the shoulders. Lift your chest and go to one side. Now come back across the middle, over the other way, and come down. And repeat that circle in the opposite direction. So up and around, down and release. It's almost like you're massaging the shoulders, one to the other side, and relax across to the first side. Breathe out on the way up, tailbone heavy. Breathe in as you come down, rib cage connecting back up. And down, 5 more. 4. And in. 3. And in. After 2 more, we will not rest. 2, just so you know. Last one. 3, 2, 1. Leave your head lifted, take your hands away. Grab the sides of your trousers, the seams or the knees, and pull yourself a bit higher. Pulse, pulse, tailbone down. Lift the back of your ribs. 10, 9, 8, 7. Tailbone heavy, don't let the pelvis tip. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release, let your head drop down. All good. Go back into that cross-legged position. So your knees are tightly squeezed. Yeah. Gather up those knees to your chest. And this time, simply pull your knees to your chest. Feel the top leg pulling to the opposite shoulder. And the bottom leg doing the same, like you're trying to pull your knees into a deeper cross. If you do have tight glute med, you might feel this purely as a stretch. If you don't, you won't feel the stretch, which is a good thing.
I definitely do.
You feel it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is tight. Yeah. Simple stretch. And it's one of those ones, I think, especially as you get fitter, you just leave it out because it just feels like, oh, it's too easy. So breathe into it. If you feel that stretch, it is tight. A lot of people who are not active don't feel it. Because obviously we sit like that a lot. So relax your feet, uncross your legs and do the same on the other side. Check that your feet are in the middle when you start. Cross your legs over. Gather your knees in towards you. Once you've got your hands on your knees, relax your shoulders and feel like you're trying to deepen the cross of your legs towards the opposite shoulders.
This is the really painful one.
And this one's really tight. So with these passive, at the beginning we do these kind of static stretches and then we do dynamic stretches. We have some neuromuscular we didn't do today. These passive relaxed stretches, you need to have them at least 30 seconds. So the secondary stretch complex, stretch reflex can just gently start to kick in. That secondary reflex is a signal from your brain to release. So here it comes. Probably about now, you kind of feel something, even if it's not in that area, like even you might think, oh, my shoulders are a bit tight, and you release those. Nice long breaths. And release down. Uncross your legs. Roll sideways to come up to sitting. Okay, once you come up, put your hands behind your back again, feet back together, and then do that rolling from side to side. I hope it feels somewhat more comfortable. This would be a perfect time to do just 2 or 3 on each segment of fascial rolling. So if you want to, if you've got literally a couple of minutes to sit on your foam roller sideways and roll up and down, and don't go where it is so painful. You kind of hold your breath If it is too painful just to sit there, sit with a little bit of weight on your hands. Okay, come to cross-legged. Relax your shoulders down into the back of your neck. Incline your head sideways. We've all gone the same way, so I'd like you to just push down through your left arm. Imagine you're pushing something away. Push down through the heel of your hand. So the hand pops up like that. You've got a bit of a neural stretch there. Looks a bit affected. Release your head down and come up to sitting and do the same the other way. So start with the inclination, then push your hand away and then lift your fingers if you can. If it's too tingly in your fingers, you'll have to curl them in. Release. Drop your chin to your chest. Come back up. All right. So definitely a session dedicated to hips, glutes, and lower back and stuff. Just